There are many mysteries surrounding the fall of humanity. When considering the topics for this series of deep dives, there were many to choose from. What are the origins of the Ironheart? Where did the Vulgus come from? What exactly is Arche? But for our first singular topic, I thought the best place to start is at the beginning.
In the beginning. Yeah.
But for those great mysteries, there is one that stands out above them all. I am the Bloodlust, and today we're going to dig into exactly who were the ancestors and where did they go. Remember to leave a comment, drop a like, and subscribe or follow for more. So, who were the ancestors? In the first descendant, the ancestors are an ancient, hyper-advanced human civilization that existed long before the events of today, predating the modern human population on Ingress by an unspecified but certainly vast period of time, potentially millennia or even eons. They are not merely a historical footnote thrown in as an afterthought or narrative filler, but indeed a foundational force whose legacy drives the apocalyptic narrative. The ancestors are depicted as having achieved technological and possibly metaphysical mastery far beyond the capabilities of present-day humans, to the point where their creations and influence border on the mythical. The lore does not provide a detailed timeline or an origin story for the ancestors, but it heavily implies they were the original architects of the Ironheart, the infinite energy source central to the invaders' desires and catalyst to the world's ever-present state of conflict. Their civilization seems to have vanished or collapsed long before the dimensional gates opened, leaving behind only fragments of their knowledge, technology, and genetic legacy. This absence fuels speculation within the narrative. Were they wiped out by their own hubris? Did they ascend to another plane of existence? Or were they destroyed by forces like the ones now threatening Ingress? The ancestors' most significant and well-known contribution is the Ironheart, a mysterious artifact or energy source described as infinite in potential. While the exact nature of the Ironheart remains ambiguous, whether it's a physical object, a reactor, or something more esoteric, it's clear the ancestors engineered it as the pinnacle of their technological prowess. The Ironheart's ability to emit unique energy frequencies capable of crossing dimensional boundaries suggests the ancestors had mastered interdimensional physics, energy manipulations, or even cosmic engineering. This creation sets the ancestors apart as a civilization that didn't just manipulate their environment, but reshaped reality itself. The Ironheart's allure, drawing both the Vulgus and the Colossi to Ingress, underscores its power, but also hints at the ancestors' recklessness. Did they fully understand the consequences of creating something so potent? The fact that its frequencies attracted apocalyptic invaders suggests the Ironheart may have been a Pandora's box, a triumph of ambition that sowed the seeds of Ingress's downfall. Beyond the Ironheart, the ancestors left other traces of their advanced society. The Arche, a genetic trait latent in modern humans, is explicitly tied to their lineage, indicating they engineered or naturally possessed extraordinary abilities that could be passed down through generations. The Magister's ability to awaken this trait suggests the ancestors may have encoded their potential into humanity's DNA, either as a safeguard or as some experiment. Additionally, the dimensional gates themselves might be ancestral technology. Though the lore leaves this open to interpretation, were the gates their creation, accidentally triggered, or something they encountered and ultimately failed to control? The Arche is perhaps the most direct link between the ancestors and present-day humanity. Described as a strand of DNA unique to humans, the RK grants those who possess it superhuman capabilities, enhanced strength, speed, elemental manipulation, and other powers that define the descendants. A faction of rogue Vulgus scientists known as the Magisters discover and unlock this trait, suggesting it was dormant until some external intervention would activate it. This raises fascinating questions about the ancestors' intentions. Did they deliberately embed the RK in their descendants as a contingency plan, anticipating a potential future crisis like the one humanity and the descendants find themselves in today, or was it a natural byproduct of their advanced biology? The RK's connection to the ancestors implies they were not just technologically superior, but also biologically distinct. They may have been a race of superhumans themselves, wielding abilities akin to those of the descendants, but on a grander scale. The fact that only certain humans carry the RK suggests it is rare, possibly indicating the ancestors were a select group within a larger population, or that their genetic modifications didn't spread universally, but rather proliferated like other genetic traits passed down naturally through generations of humanity. The awakening of the RK by the Magisters also points to the ancestors' potential foresight and/or arrogance. If they designed the arcade to lie dormant, they might have anticipated a scenario where humanity would need to evolve to survive. Alternatively, the arcade could be an unintended remnant, a leftover from experiments that the ancestors never meant to resurface. Either way, it positions the descendants as the literal heirs of the ancestors, carrying their potential and their burdens. The apocalypse that devastates Ingress, triggered by the Vulgus and Colossi coinciding invasions, is inextricably tied to the ancestors' legacy. The Ironheart, as their creation, is the catalyst for the entire conflict. The Vulgus seek it to revive their dying empire, believing it can return them to or somehow give new life to their homeworld Cliffoth, while the Colossi are simply drawn in by its frequencies, suggesting a compulsion, or possibly something more supernatural tied to its energy. This makes the ancestors indirectly responsible for the fall of modern human civilization, as their relic invited destruction from across dimensions. The dimensional gates themselves are another point of speculation. While the lore doesn't confirm their origin, their sudden appearance suspiciously aligns with the Ironheart's discovery or activation. If the ancestors built or experimented with these gates, they might have opened pathways to other worlds, inadvertently inviting the Vulgus and Colossi. This would frame the apocalypse as a delayed consequence of their hubris, a reckoning for tampering with forces beyond their control. The Colossi's connection to the ancestors is particularly intriguing, as the lore hints that the Colossi are cursed and bound to the Ironheart. This raises the possibility that the ancestors encountered or maybe even created these beings during their experiments. Were the Colossi a failed project, an enemy they couldn't defeat, or some now unknown cosmic force they inexplicably unleashed? Their biomechanical nature suggests a blend of technological and organic horror, which could suggest the ancestors' advanced capabilities having gone awry. One of the most compelling aspects of the Ancients is indeed their absence. By the time of the first Descendants events, they are long gone, leaving only relics, genes, and mysteries. This void shapes the narrative's tone. Humanity is fighting not just for survival, but to understand a legacy they can't fully grasp. The lack of concrete records about the ancestors suggests their civilization either deliberately erased its own history or was obliterated so thoroughly that only traces survived. This absence fuels questions and speculation surrounding responsibility and inheritance. The descendants, as the ancestors' genetic heirs, must contend with a world broken by their predecessors' actions. The Ironheart, the Arche, and possibly the Gates are gifts and also curses in equal measure, forcing the descendants to navigate a paradox. Should they wield the ancestors' power to undo the ancestors' mistakes, would this not also bring its own consequences? The Guide, a mysterious entity, and possibly a remnant of the ancestors' will, leads Albion and its defenders. This enigmatic AI might, however, also hold clues to the ancestors' disappearance, but its cryptic nature only deepens the mystery behind their equally enigmatic fate. The ancestors serve as a mythic archetype in the first descendant, godlike forebears whose brilliance and flaws echo through time. They embody the classic sci-fi trope of a lost golden age, akin to the Forerunners in Halo or the Protheans in Mass Effect. Their story is one of ambition and overreaching control, a cautionary tale about the dangers of playing God. Yet they also represent hope, as their legacy empowers the descendants to fight back against the overwhelming odds. The ancestors' connection to the Ironheart and RK frames the game's central conflict as a struggle over their inheritance. The Vulgus want to claim it, the Colossi are bound to it, and the descendants are bored from it. This dynamic positions Ingress as a battleground, not just for survival, but for the right to define the ancestors' legacy. Will it be a tool of destruction or redemption? There are still many unanswered questions and speculations surrounding the ancestors. The lore leaves much about the ancestors open to interpretation, inviting speculation. What caused their downfall? Was it an internal collapse, an external enemy, or a transcendence to another state of being? Did they create the Colossi? The Colossi's curse and biomechanical nature suggest a possible origin connecting them to the ancestors, perhaps as weapons or experiments gone wrong. Were they responsible for the sudden appearance of the dimensional gates? If so, why did they open it? And what were they hoping to find? What was their relationship with the Ironheart? Did they worship it? Possibly somehow control it? Or did they fear it? With the Ironhearts buried or encapsulated in a near impenetrable reliquary of some cosmic or even magical origin, it really does beg the question. If they were ultimately going to lock them away, what compelled the ancestors to create them in the first place? And finally, how exactly is the guide connected to them? The guide's deeply mysterious and unfathomably vast catalog of knowledge, coupled with its seemingly benevolent yet increasingly ambiguous agenda, hint at a deeper tie to the ancestors, possibly as an AI or some supernatural entity they left behind. Though we may not have answers to these questions today, future updates may potentially reveal more. For now, the ancestors remain a shadowy presence in time, their full story tantalizingly out of reach. The ancestors in the first descendant were the architects of both wonder and ruin. Their creation of the Ironheart and the RK positions them as a civilization of unmatched brilliance, yet their subsequent absence and the apocalyptic consequences of their work suggests a fatal flaw in its execution. Perhaps pride, maybe curiosity, or possibly recklessness. They are the unseen force behind Ingress's ongoing conflicts, their legacy woven into the DNA of the descendants and the fate of Ingress. For players, unraveling the ancient story means confronting the weight of history, delving into dangerous mysteries, and wielding their power to forge a future they never foresaw. This concludes part 2 of our deep dive into the rich history of the First Descendant. I greatly appreciate the response I received from the last video, and I intend to keep making content for this and other games in the future. So, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe or follow, and most importantly, share to help me break through the algorithm. Trust in the bloodlust. A faction of rogue Vulgus scientists known as the Magisters discover and unlock this trait, suggesting it was dormant until some external